I'm Aden Matthews.
And I'm Zach Snyder.
And welcome back to another YouTube podcast, the one-stop shop for anything and everything related to YouTube.
The show where we wait for our copy of Gex to get in the mail. I'm still waiting.
I already have it. It's here. It's here already.
Yeah, you got a copy. I just don't have mine yet. But,
you can't join the Gex Appreciation Club until you have the copy, bro. It's a rule.
No,
it's
I'm actually waiting on an epic gaming chair to get here from Amazon.
Oh shit!
I ordered it a month ago. I still ain't got it. I'm getting a little upset about it.
During the pandemic, they're only really focusing on delivering essentials, and I guess gaming chairs aren't essential.
You would think. I need something to put my ass on, so.
Ain't that a fucking mood and a half? But welcome back. We're doing another late night recording, back how we used to do it.
Taking
in the
it
podcast
back.
days, where we didn't care. But in this case, it's not that we didn't care. It's that our sleep schedules were diametrically opposed. Where I stayed up during most of the day, went to bed. Or no. I went to bed early in the morning and slept all the way to 4 p.m., which is conveniently when you went to bed then slept all the way to 11.
Yeah.
So I don't think we've been at the same time being awake for the past 24 hours or so.
Well, it was weird because last night I was up late doing some editing for a client, and I figured I'm just going to stay up all day because I thought that because I figured we was going to be recording, and I didn't see you online around the time that I was still up. So I hit you up and I'm like, yo, whenever you get up, I'm down to record. And you send me bet. But I did not know that was when you were going to bed.
Yes.
And, yeah. We should have probably been more communicative. But
and then I went at around 4:10 p.m. I'm woke and Reggie, and then the emote with the cute monocle call me. Zach responds with Lamau. I went to sleep at around 4, which is right when I sent that message.
Yeah.
So Zach was up, and I went to bed at around 6, and then I got up at 4, and that's when Zach went to bed and got up at 11.
You gotta love it.
It all worked out in the end, though. But welcome to another week doing our epic favorite segment, Your Week on YouTube trademark. And if the last episode didn't have enough things to talk about, this episode might have too many things to talk about. So much has happened since we've last recorded.
It might, yeah. It's been a month since we recorded, so.
Which only means one thing. You ready for an hour? No. We're still going to try to keep it to around 30 minutes, but it's definitely harder to do when we have so much stuff to cover.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. First off, shout out to the people that are still listening to the podcast. We appreciate you. Kiss, kiss.
Ooh.
Bunches of hugs. All that shit. Really appreciate
all
you.
Right.
The numbers went down after we didn't upload for a month. So, that is, I guess, to be expected. But there are still people sticking around. So, we still vibing. Ain't worried about a thing.
No worry zone here. Just full of positive energy until we inevitably complain about something. But until then, positive energy. That's what we're all about here.
Aden, what did you do on your week on YouTube trademark?
Well, how far back are we going? Is I guess
the
question I need to ask.
Our last recorded session was on July 10th.
July 10th. Okay.
So,
July 10th. Okay, I'm trying to go back in time.
Literally a month and a week.
Trying to picture myself of where I was at. Oh, okay. So
you put out a few videos.
July. I have, yes. I remember which one I had to start with. Okay. So most of July, nothing really happened. I was just kind of watching movies and playing games and stuff until around the end of July when I had that Olive video come out. It was, I think, literally the final day of July or close to it. but it got out right before the month ended. And that was a video that I had literally like scripted weeks ago and recorded weeks ago. But it was one of those things where every time I went into the Vegas timeline, I'm like, man, I don't know how the fuck to edit this. This is boring. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do. So I closed the Vegas file. It went until the end of the month where it's like, oh, I have an idea of how to tie this all together. Let's like use some Earthbound clips. Let's like get creative with some wavy text. Let's like try and get all these clips together and stuff and find footage. And then I went on an editing tear. I like finished that video in about a night, uploaded it the next day. It came out and didn't do much, which is to be expected. The last video I think has 30 views, and it's the me and Ethan reacting to old videos, and that video popped off. So I wasn't expecting this one to match up to that, but it was kind of a little sad because it only reached like 12 views during its lifetime currently, which is a shame because that's one of my more proud videos. Not that there's like a lot in terms of editing or really any funny moment at all, but in terms of like the entire process behind it, I really like that special. I was really happy with my script, and I thought that video flowed super well.
It was a very cozy Aden video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar in energy to a lot of the Charlie Brown ones, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it'll get more views probably during Christmas time, since it is a Christmas type of video.
Sure.
And I know like Christmas in July is a thing, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I didn't hear anything about Christmas in July this year, so.
No, me neither. It was just more of a funny haha excuse because the video was going to come out in June.
Right.
But by the time it was delayed that much, I'm like, oh, well, this works better than it just being released in June, I guess. It's closer to Christmas or some shit. I don't know. Maybe I should have saved the video, but at the same time, it was the closest thing to being done. And sometimes I just felt like, you know what, regardless of what people are going to think about it, it's more important that I get the thing out rather than stewing on said thing.
Definitely.
And then after that, we got a video about the current state of battle royales, and this one was fun to put together. Really, this whole video like only took about a week, with Fall Guys coming out, us playing Fortnite a ton, as well as like getting access to the bros and their thoughts. It was just like the perfect moment, perfect time thing where I was just sort of able to gather all the footage and record all the things while the topic was hot, and that video did substantially better. The current state of battle royales, a bit of a longer one, and it goes in all sorts of different unique places, plus having the bros on there. But that one, like, in terms of visual editing, I think is one of my better ones. Like, the Olive video is, like, nice and chill, but that Battle Royale video, especially with the transitions in between games, I was really proud of how that turned out.
Yeah, that one's a really fun one. Being able to be on it and then having Jay and Parker in it and just everybody together, the pacing and everything ends up being a really fun watch.
And it was just meant to be a collab with Jay, but then it turned into being a bigger video, which was fun to do with Jay as well. Go check out his Fall Guys review. I show up in the only normal part of the video to talk about my favorite Fall Guys stages, if you want to know, I guess. And then last but not, Fall Guys do go hard, bro. Fall Guys goes really hard. I almost wish I had more time in my video just to talk about it more, but it was only really like dedicated to a third of the video, but still slaps. And then I guess finally to end it off, the last major videos that came out was 30 for 30 stuff. I got the Sonic 2 video that came out literally this week, which was cool, kind of a return back to the format. Filmed it in my living room. Started recording the gameplay off of Steam rather than the Ultimate Genesis collection I've been using, so there's no ugly border and the gameplay footage looks a lot better. And then I got another one coming out. Hopefully by the time this goes, it should be out by the time this goes out. I literally have it recorded and everything, and I just got to finish editing, and I'll have another one to come out either Saturday or Friday, somewhere around there. But that'll be 2 in a row as I rush to finish 30 for 30 before I end up moving in September.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
What were your thoughts on the Sonic video?
I like the Sonic video a lot. That's another one where it's like 30 for 30 is still like my favorite thing that you've done. especially in like the past year, but I think just in general on Blue Couch Productions, it's just got like a lot of, it's that perfect culmination of like everything I think you do really well at. Like you have like a couple of funny moments here and there, but it's also just like you talking about a game, the history of it, you review it. I just really like it. And so like obviously more of that has been great. But that Sonic 2 one particularly, you had yourself in the living room. There's another kind of cozy Aden video. I fucked with it.
I'm noticing that a lot of the content that I end up watching and relating to is more on that chill side. Mm-hmm. So I think it comes out a lot in my videos where it's like, I wonder what Aiden's influences are. And it's like very clearly, obviously, like chill content that you can watch while, sitting on a couch or vibing in bed. It doesn't get very loud. And when it does, it's usually for only a comedic bit or two, and then it gets back to chill immediately.
For sure.
But that's everything on Blue Couch Productions related. In terms of Lions Honor Gaming, the last episode I watched back, and we literally talked about like, oh, I hope the Mega Man 2 Versus comes out on time. And now here we are, and the whole thing's just out and done.
Yeah, the whole series.
People love it.
It's so good. I'm so happy at how that turned out.
I am too. I'm so excited. I want to do another series with you already, even though we just like it wasn't that long ago when we recorded it.
I know.
But
yeah.
Shit was so much fucking fun. And when we recorded it, like we were obviously so tired out of my mind. So I didn't know like how much of that would have just been awful to listen back to in the edit. But all the shit that I forgot about made it funnier when I saw it on the timeline again. I'm like, oh, I really did say that. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Why the fuck not? Let's talk about Papa Roach for 15 minutes or some shit, or Creed or whatever. Just the fucking out of nowhere, like, just say whatever comes to your mind. Who gives a shit type of energy that I really fuck with on Lions Honor Gaming.
For sure.
So good. And then, let's see, Aden on Anchor still coming out. Still working on Season 3 of Game Club. They're all recorded. I'm just gonna start uploading a bunch of them and just releasing them on every other Wednesday or something. And, that's pretty much it. The last thing I'm working on, and this could spiral into its own thing, but I'm working on a new version of the Mario Odyssey verses that we recorded back in 2018.
Right.
So I went back, I added a new layout, fixed up the graphics, did some like cool linear wipes for each time a kingdom changes so it looks more seamless. And recently have now just been going through and trying to edit down these 36, 38-minute videos down to 27 and 28 minutes.
Yeah.
I've had to cut out so much stuff. A lot of it is just like boring stuff that I should have thought to cut out the first time around. But it was wild to go back and watch these and realize how much we've changed as people in that amount of time.
Yeah, it's weird going back and watching some of your older content and hearing yourself talk about things that you just don't agree with anymore.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have. Wouldn't even like to the point where it probably shouldn't have said that. It's just like, yeah, I just don't agree with that anymore. It's just weird.
Right. Even the dynamics I found too were interesting because I was doing a lot of that like stereotypical Aiden thing where like I'm awkward, so I'll just laugh at everything type of shit. Where like you or Jay would say something and I would just laugh back for no reason because I'm trying to meld it all together. Because you and Jay had clearly known each other for a pretty long time at this point. And by the time we were doing Mario Odyssey Versus, like I had known y'all and we had done things together, but this was sort of the first like bigger project, I guess.
Yeah.
And so like the whole dynamic is just so interesting and so weird back then where like Jay will just go on some crazy ass angry fucking like 17-year-old like fucking rants. And then Zach won't really rein it in. He'll just say something fucking stupid or epic, and then I'm over here talking about like the Nintendo Switch in year 1 and my favorite vines or some shit. I make a Ugandan Knuckles joke in the series. Unironically make a Ugandan Knuckles joke.
Oh no.
And it's like that was only 2018. Early 2018.
Yeah.
This was the series that inspired Lions Honor Gaming. This was a series I held up in such high regard as one of my favorite Let's Play projects. And that's not to say that it's bad. Most of it actually still does very much hold up. But it was almost that, like, down-to-earth moment I needed where I looked back on it and went, yeah, I've done better than this, actually. We've all improved, both as commentators and as people, and this wasn't the best thing we've ever created, which almost feels good in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely. Like, even with Jay and I knowing each other for a few years at that point, like, our dynamics weren't even that good. Like, we were still trying to understand, like, how to commentate with each other and shit. Like, it's insane how much we've not only grown as people, but as creators. And that's a very good thing. And I think we're going to be talking about a lot of that next week as well.
Right, for our main topic.
Yeah. But
give you a little bit of a taste of it here.
I'm both interested and apprehensive to see what the Mario Odyssey versus looks like 2 years later, because I haven't watched it back since it came out. So that'll be
well, you'll be happy to know that the worst of it will be gone.
Yeah.
Like, just for example, just because I know it's not going to be on the thing. There's at one point where I go, "Hey Zach," and you're like, "What?" I want to hear your thoughts about this recent controversy that you stumbled into, and you're like, "What? Recent controversy? What happened?" And I'm like, "Do you remember where you were the night of the 2016 election?" And you go, "Oh, fuck off." And that was funny, and it's great, but the whole next 5 to 6 minutes is us talking about, like, politics and liberal versus conservative, and, like, the fact that you even say, like, "I can't wait for all the people to get mad at me because I'm conservative and shit," even though I lean toward the middle, and I'm like,
LOL.
As funny as that joke was, Aiden, the whole conversation that comes after it is just not worth it. We're gonna cut those 5-6 minutes out, and we're gonna move on. we're gonna move on and pretend like it didn't even happen.
Yeah.
So I cut the whole thing there.
The biggest ironic thing about that entire conversation is that I not only lean towards the middle now, I am very much on the left at this point. No longer
again, like,
considering
crazy.
myself a conservative. So
crazy to see how much shit has changed.
It's kind of cringe to hear that, bro.
Yeah, well, I'm the one who has to go back and listen to it all unedited and uncut for 37 minutes. It's wild. Yeah. But be on the lookout for that on Lions Honor Gaming. Each episode will be under 30 minutes. So hopefully it'll be entertaining, and I hope you guys enjoy the improvements, because there's a lot of work trying to get it back to a state that I'm actually proud of. So that should be interesting. But yeah, that's been my week on YouTube. How has your week been, Zachary?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So, I put out one video. Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
can we get a clap,
so
ladies?
Excited.
I'm impressive.
I'm really happy with this video. It's
little
Crash Bandicoot 1. I say review, but like I talk about Dark Souls, and I talk about my childhood expectations with the game, and it's kind of like just my experience with the game. Whole your everyday nerd concept, back at it again. But yeah, I wrote this script originally in like February. Been like working on the video as far as editing goes for like a month and a half, on and off. It took forever for no reason. But then, like, as it was taking forever because I just wasn't working on my videos much, I also decided I just want to put more time and effort into this video. So it took even longer. But it's one of my favorite videos that I put out. And I've been really excited and happy with all the content I've put out this year. So I feel like that's a good thing.
It's right up there with me in terms of your game review content, like with the Minecraft and Kingdom Hearts episodes.
Yeah.
Just in terms of quality, like, again, you just cover so many, like, interesting topics and things where it's like, yeah, you probably clicked on the video because of Crash Bandicoot and the funny Dark Souls meme, but, like, it takes you on a pretty interesting ride throughout to keep you invested. And, yeah, I really fucked with it.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, I'm happy with it. And then like another big part of my like week, all that good stuff is I've been, and we'll be talking more about this next week, but I've been trying to like figure out my scheduling over and over and over again. It's been like, do I want to do like June? I was talking about trying to go daily again, and that just wasn't gonna work. And then I was thinking about weekly, and the long story short is I still don't know. Like I still have no idea. I got like all these video ideas that I want to work on, and a few of them are scripted, a few of them are written, are already recorded. There's a lot of them that I still need to write scripts for, and so I'm just trying to take it one by one right now. I'm working on a Scoob video. Oh, the 2020 Scoob movie. So that was that's turning out to be interesting, but I'm happy with how it's turning out right now. And then I hadn't told you this yet, but this week I went back, or I kind of mentioned it the other night. I went back and looked at some of my Final Destination recaps.
Yeah.
And for those that have been like following this podcast for the longest time, this podcast used to be on my YouTube channel, Zach Snyder Productions. And it launched with this podcast, another podcast, like some top 10s and shit, and then like a series called Recap. And it was just me recapping a movie and then like trying to review it. And in 2017, Zach, I had no real interest in movies as a medium. It was just something that I thought would be interesting to look at on YouTube. And I decided to start with the Final Destination series for some reason. And I recapped and reviewed the entire series. And while I was looking at that, I decided, you know what? We'll rewatch the movies. So
Nice.
I've rewatched the first 4 out of 5 in the last few days.
Bro.
So hopefully in October we'll have a new Your Everyday Nerd video on Final Destination that can private them old videos. They'll be gone. Disgusting. Completely gone.
The wilding part about all of that is I'm sure at some point during this podcast you talked about the creation of some of these recaps. Yes. Not the Final Destination ones, obviously, because those premiered alongside the podcast. Yeah. But some of the later ones, you've probably mentioned in this podcast about how you were feeling about them. And now we have done this podcast for a long enough time to where you can go and look back on those old videos and be like, what the fuck? Was I on crack? Like, what is this?
Dude, it's fucking wild. I think the wild thing is they're the most popular videos on my channel. And they've brought in a decent amount of subscribers. They've brought in a decent amount of like watch time and views and all that kind of shit, right? But I think from an analytics point, like an overall channel analytics point, that people are coming to the channel, they're either watching them, liking them, and then not staying because I'm not doing recap anymore, which is, sad. But what's even sadder is I think people are finding them, watching the first minute or less and being like, what is this shit? I don't want to watch this. And then they'll never check out the channel again because they think that's the entire representation of the channel, right?
You know why I think that is?
Why?
So, I'm going to take a little bit of a detour, but I'll get to it in a second. I was watching a streamer who has a YouTube channel called Nutty. Very funny, haha, nut name. All right. Anyway, I was watching them do this Q&A stream, and their YouTube channel was popping off. They had finally got to 10K views. And he had talked about how he did all the sort of content to reach to where he was at today. And he talks about how he made a channel before this one that had views and was popular. Basically, the idea would be he would do tutorials that just cut straight to the point. No bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you want to know how to make a cut in Sony Vegas, he got you covered. You want to know this effects thing, he's got you covered. But he noticed, and this is getting back to the point, that analytically, a lot of the people were coming to watch these videos to get the answer to their how-to question, but they weren't sticking around. And the reason that he posits that, and I think what's happening in your situation, is that a lot of that content is not focused on your personality. It's focused on either the tutorial or the movie itself, and that's it. And that'll get people in the door. That might even get people to watch a video or two, but it gives no reason for a viewer who may have enjoyed that to subscribe because they didn't care about you. They cared about the fucking movie or the tip or the tutorial or the how-to. And so he went on to say that, like, that's why it's so important. Even if the video takes longer, even if the tutorial isn't as succinct and to the point, if you can inject just a little bit of personality to keep people coming back, you're doing a million times better of a job than you would have before, just cutting straight to the point with no energy at all.
Oh, for sure. It's I think that's the case for a lot of channels, and even to a certain extent some of my earlier content. But what's wild is it's not that I don't interject my personality into these videos. It's that it's not an accurate representation of what my personality is now. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of it comes off, for lack of a better word, cringy. Like, it's old, it's outdated. I make very forced jokes. Like, there's an entire minute-long segment in one of these videos where I just do pun after pun after pun. And I'm like, why? Like, I would never do that now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's not that, like, the videos themselves don't have my personality in them. I would say that at the time, they were the most personality impacted stuff that I was making. It's just that I've grown as a person, I've grown as a creator, and I think by those videos being the most popular stuff, and they not being an accurate representation of what I do now, they don't need to be on the channel anymore.
Mood.
I've even thought...
It seems to be a theme.
Yeah.
It seems to be a theme with today's Your Week on YouTube is change and growth.
Yeah, for sure.
Unintentionally. Anyway,
I've even thought, you're fine. I think a year ago, I was even thinking about, starting another channel and just, starting Your Everyday Nerd from fresh and re-uploading all of the Your Everyday Nerd episodes on there just so I could get that algorithm to work for me from the beginning there. But I haven't done that. And I don't think I will. I think I'm a little too far into it at this point. And that's not necessarily true. I think I just don't want to. But
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And then I would want to... It's not a guarantee. And then I would want to, remake some of those older episodes of Your Everyday Nerd. Because even those videos don't accurately portray what the show is anymore.
Right. And then who's to say they would even get the same amount of views either? What if they just do worse?
What if they just do worse? Exactly.
And then you have the popular versions privated on a channel nobody goes to anymore, and it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. Yeah. But I get the temptation. I feel it every day where it's what if I just run off and ignore all the things I do and just start completely different, and maybe it'll do better, right? But usually I'm not thinking a whole lot about the consequences or the risk behind it. I'm just doing it so I can escape trying to do shit that I could easily fix first and then work my way out.
Escape that middle game, right?
Yeah.
Cause starting a brand new channel, dude, that shit easy. There's no expectations. Easy. You can do whatever you want. Fun too. It's fun. Everything's brand new again. That middle game, it's tough. It's tough. You know?
It's wild to me that even for as long as we've done this, and for as many things as we've done, and for how much we've improved, we've never really found that, solid ground to stand on, right?
Yeah.
And that, yeah, things go well for periods of time, and then a year or two passes, and we look back on those things, and we're like, they're not as great as they were. Or in some cases, we doubt that what we're doing is even good. But then we look at them and we're like, no, there's actual improvement here. But I'd be interested to see, like, in 10 years from now or something, if we'll look back on these days and maybe even have a little bit of fondness just for the insecurity of it all and the fact that we never knew where it was going.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we'd miss it somehow. And I don't feel that way now. But a part of me could see, like, if I was in a more stable and solid place 10 years from now, how looking back at this could actually be kind of nostalgic.
A part of me misses, like, as hell as it was to do videos at school, like in college, like, part of me misses being in college and working on YouTube because, like, sure, I had responsibilities and I had to go do band practice and go to classes and that kind of shit. But, like, I was able to make a lot more videos during that than I was now, just because, responsibilities change. Like, you never outgrow having to do something in life. So, like, part of me misses that. But I could definitely see, like, a fondness towards this part of my life to a certain extent. Years down the road.
Hopefully long.
Yeah.
After.
It'll be interesting to see Your Everyday Nerd 10 years from now, or like Blue Couch Productions in its 10-year phase, or who knows? Whatever we do could change between now and then. Either way, it'll be interesting.
It's cool that we're at least documenting it through this podcast, and that we'll have concrete, like, video evidence of where we were at particular points, and we'll be able to, I mean, we're already starting to see the results of that now, how we are looking back at things from 2 years ago. I can't even imagine what that would look like on a larger scale if we are still doing this podcast even.
Yeah, same, that'd be crazy.
So who knows?
It'll be interesting. But yeah, that's I think that's everything I got. I changed my Twitch layout.
Oh yeah.
I think you changed your Twitch layout too between last episode and this.
I think.
But I'll be honest, yeah. I don't know for sure. But both of us have a different Twitch layout than we did at least a month and a half to 2 months ago.
Right. That's the important part.
That's the important part.
I talked about on Aden on Anchor recently, and about the sort of idea, and I mentioned to you in call, but this idea that with how well and how things are improving, that potentially Twitch could be my main form of content creation, at least in terms of, like, where I'm at with it. The fact that I'm getting close to my first payout of $100, which is more money than I've ever made on any other social media thing. The fact that I'm having so much fun with it. I kind of just threw out the idea talking about, like, a YouTube versus Twitch thing. And it was interesting to I guess, hear your reaction and Jay's reaction of, like, what a world of Blue Couch Productions would look like that was primarily focused on Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure, like, where I'm going with that, I guess, really. So, it's interesting. But, like, with that all being said, Twitch more and more as the year has gone on, and I guess this is why I'm bringing it up, has become more in my forefront than it was, like, let's say a year or even 2 years ago.
I think what's unfortunate about the podcast is that we're called another YouTube podcast, and we so very much like doing YouTube, but when it comes to social media and content creation in 2020, making money from it is far easier on probably every other platform that's not YouTube.
Yep.
And it's kind of fucked up.
Yep.
But it just so happens to be the case.
With everything we do, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, podcasting, we have made money from it. Our Patreon, we've made money from it. Twitch, we've made money from it. Merch, we've made money from it. But, like, except for like a check that I got in 2013, 2014, I think it was, when I turned 18, back when YouTube had a partner program that wasn't, exclusive. I have not made another cent from YouTube.
Right.
And
I mean, like outside of your editing work, but that's not
outside of my editing work, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that's even a bigger thing, right? Like if you actually really want to make money from making videos, like do it for other people.
It's not your own.
Yeah.
It's not your own content.
That sucks even more. Like that
It's
really just, takes all the creative fun out of it. But it just
and that's
so
not to say
be
that like money is the only motivator or that's like why we're doing it. We've discussed 1,000 times that like the reason we do YouTube videos is we find like a bit of creative fulfillment and enjoyment from doing it. And so I would never just like up and stop making YouTube videos. I think what we're saying is in relation to everything else we do, it's almost the thing that makes the least amount of sense, I guess.
Yeah.
If we were running it like a business, which we most certainly are not, but if you were to treat it like a business, it would make no sense for me to do Blue Couch Productions videos unless it was specifically to fuel Twitch growth.
Yeah, if I was doing any of this exclusively for money, like I would have stopped 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
like it just wouldn't make any logical sense. Obviously, long term, it makes sense to keep with it, but as far as like short term goes, like it's almost a waste of time. It is a waste of time if you're just in it for the money, right?
Yeah.
But with all that being said, yeah, I'm not surprised that you're gonna have like $100 check from Twitch before the end of the year. Number one, you're a good streamer. Like I think you do really well at it, and number two, like it's easier to get that 100 than it is to get, it's easier to get that Twitch affiliate status on Twitch, and then to get people to sub with Amazon Prime subs or whatever than it is to get 1,000 subs on YouTube and 4,000 hours of watch time.
Yep.
And I think we're going to be talking about more of that next week too. But
mood. So we should probably stop here and lest we keep tangenting off into so many different corners. I wasn't going to really bring up the Twitch thing in the next episode anyway, so I thought it was okay to just sort of throw that out here in case you don't listen to Aden on Anchor, like where I'm at, because it is your week on YouTube stuff. But I'm just letting you all know it's in the back of my mind. It is moving closer to the front. I am having a fun time, and the results are showing off far quicker than anything YouTube related. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Still going to be doing YouTube stuff. I'm kicking ass in terms of 2020 content. You're kicking ass in terms of 2020 content. A lot of the videos we put out have been fantastic. I'm still going to do that. But you know how our brains work. We're always looking at the next thing or another thing or a side project or whatever,
Yeah, like my OnlyFans. I've been working on that.
Bruh, let me tell you.
Get hyped.
The quality in the photos just astounded me, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't know how you pull it off.
Got some Dark Souls lewds getting on.
Damn. I didn't know Solaire kink was a thing.
Solaire, let me tell you.
Here we are.
Praise the sun, praise the moon. Let me tell you.
Praise them cheeks, bro. The 2 full moons, brother.
Anyways, hopefully you guys have been enjoying the podcast. We appreciate you as always. If you have any comments or questions or suggestions, we're always taking them suggestions. You can either hit us up on the YouTube channel, another YouTube podcast, or you can email us at anotherytpodcast@gmail.com. Shout out to Ramson again for sending us that email a couple weeks ago. We appreciate you, boy.
Yeah.
You can also financially support us through anchor.fm if you want to do that. You don't have to, but you can. We'll read your name on here. It'll be epic.
It would be epic.
But anyways, I've been Zach.
And I've been Aiden.
We want to thank you for listening to this episode of Another YouTube Podcast. Yeah. It's tell time.